are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
From a relaxing vacation on Earth.
Greetings, Captain. I do not think you realize the gravity of your situation.
To the most perilous reaches of space. Only one crew dare travel where no man has ever gone before.
We'll need all the power you can muster, mister.
On a desolate planet, a renegade Vulcan seeks ultimate knowledge.
To find it, we'll need a starship.
And he will stop at nothing to get it.
I dreamt that a madman had taken over the Enterprise.
You look like you've just seen a ghost.
Perhaps I have, Captain. Our destination is the planet Shakari, Eden, at the center of the galaxy.
The center of the galaxy can't be reached.
If you ask me, and you haven't, I think this is a terrible idea. We're bound to bump into the Klingons.
Remain on course.
To Kirk, he's a fanatic to be fought.
You know we'll never make it through the Great Barrier.
I say the danger is an illusion.
To the crew, he's a mystic to be followed.
Cybok has simply put us in touch with feelings that we've always been.
I have to get back to the transporter.
To Spock, he's the past he must confront.
Shoot him!
You know I'm right. Spock, my only concern is getting the ship back. And you're either with me or you're not.
Put him in the brig with Captain Kirk.
I'm a prisoner on my own ship.
What are you standing around for? Do you not know a jailbreak when you see one?
Mr. Scott, you're amazing.
There's nothing amazing about it. I know this ship like the back of my hand.
Emergency channel open.
A hostile force has taken control of our vessel. Put us on a direct course with the Great Barrier.
Understood, Enterprise. We are dispatching a rescue ship immediately.
Bird of prey bearing 105, Mark II.
Let me do something.
Mr. Sulu, full ahead.
Transfer power to warp drive. Warp speed now.
The greatest enterprise of all is adventure. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Oh, well, hello. Let me do my little reveal here. What's up, all my Ewoks, cadets, and lieutenants? I'm here with my trusty Tribble to do the captain's log for Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Now, unlike most people, I love this movie, and I will get to that later on in the stream. But right now, let's do the captain's log and tell you a little bit about this movie. So as we all know, it's often debated which movie is worse, the motion picture or The Final Frontier. In my opinion, motion picture all the way. Now, The Final Frontier has a lot of great stuff in it. And in theory, if Shatner would have gotten everything that he wanted, this could have been even more fantastical. But there was a lot of issues in the making of this film. Most of it was budgetary and people messing with the script. Now, as you guys all know, I adore William Shatner so much that I embarrassed myself to no end in front of him. But that's neither here nor there. As everybody is aware of, Shatner had a bit of a reputation about being Diva, drama queen, you name it. But all of us fans adore him for it regardless. But when it comes to working with him, a lot of the cast weren't too thrilled with the fact that William Shatner was going to be directing this film. But he had it written into his contract, so the studio had to let him do it, even though the studio was, a bit not too happy with that idea. But he had directed very successful episodes of TJ Hooker, so they were like, all right, he's got some experience. We had success with Leonard Nimoy directing. Why don't we let Shatner have this one? And we kind of have to. So originally what William Shatner wanted to do, he was inspired by all of these crazy televangelists that were all over the TV. We know a few of them throughout history that might have gone to crazy lengths. Now, I wasn't alive during this time, so I'm not exactly sure if Jim Jones was alive and that was one of the inspirations. But that's my reference as somebody that was not alive during this time that's thinking back like, oh yeah, televangelists, those people I guess were popular back then and were kind of crazy and known for not practicing what they preach and to getting in a lot of trouble. So William Shatner was like, that's a perfect villain. And I know a lot of people don't like the concept of bringing God into it, but I think that that's great. Personally, I am biased. I think that that's great as using that as, an ultimate villain is somebody pretending to be God or an alien impersonating God or somebody using God or the concept of God to manipulate people. That's a great villain, in my opinion, because obviously most of the planet Earth believes in God. And if you go and look at Vulcans and Klingons, they all have their own version of religion, especially when you get into Deep Space Nine and you have the Bajorans. So that whole argument of religion and Star Trek don't mix, that's a normie for you. You tell them you didn't watch Star Trek if you really feel that way. Vulcans, the most logical beings in the universe, believe in God. So just for any of those people out there that want to say religion and Trek don't mix, they're a normie. They don't actually watch Star Trek. So just throw that argument out. Now, originally, William Shatner was working on the script. He had some help. I apologize. I am not like Graham. I do not have any of these people's name memorized. If your name isn't William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, or fuck, I don't even. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, Graham. I don't remember the rest of their names, even though I've met a few of them. Uh, I'm very limited on my capacity to remember people's names. That's why I am usually not the captain of this show. But so Shatner was working on the script. It got passed around, and there was a lot of people that were like, we're not touching it if it has to do with the whole God concept. So that's why it got a little bit messed up. Originally, they wanted Sean Connery to play the Vulcan that was manipulating everyone. And obviously, Sean Connery was like, yeah, no, not doing that. So they named Shakari after Sean Connery. If you know, you know. And originally, Sybok was not supposed to be Spock's brother. But Spock made the point of, well, I would have shot him. So if you watched the movie recently, then you guys will remember the scene where right after the shuttle crashes into the Enterprise and Spock gets the only gun, the only weapon that's there, because weapons were not supposed to be allowed in the neutral zone on this one specific planet. Spock gets it. He can shoot Sybok at point blank range and just kill him and get it over with. Shatner's yelling at him, you gotta kill him, shoot him, Spock, shoot him. And Spock doesn't shoot him. And they're like, why didn't you shoot him? And Leonard Nimoy made the point of, I can't, there's anyone else, Leonard Nimoy or Spock would have shot him. Spock literally sacrificed himself like a movie or two ago for the entire ship. Spock gave his life to save the Enterprise and, to follow Captain Kirk's orders to get the ship running so that way they could beat Khan. Anyone else, Spock would have shot, but he wouldn't shoot his own brother. And so that's why they made Sybok Spock's brother, and then they never addressed it again. And a lot of people did not like this little addition. They're like, what? That completely breaks canon of Sarek's character. Like, Sarek wouldn't have, I personally just thought that he was his older brother. That was before Amanda. And, Vulcans live a really long time. So I was like, okay, well, maybe Amanda isn't his first wife. They never confirmed or denied that. So I was like, as a child watching this, not knowing all the history, in my headcanon, it worked. So there is that. And then we have the whole concept of when they actually get there and meet God. Now, originally, what William Shatner wanted was it to be an alien that was impersonating God. And when they get there, my favorite line, what does God need with a starship? And that would be revealing that the alien was actually Satan or a like demon-like entity, and they would have all these gargoyle rock monsters come and attack, and they would have to fight them off. And also originally William Shatner wanted it to be just Captain Kirk that wasn't under Cybok's manipulation. But of course, McCoy and Spock said, no, we would never turn on him. And I'm like, oh, guys, come on. Like, if you're being manipulated and brainwashed, it could have. But they didn't want to do that. So it was those three with Cybok. And there was supposed to be this huge action scene. But budgetary constraints. So they had been spending too much money. And instead, this, I think, is the biggest spoof of this movie is like, oh my gosh, you guys. So originally ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, George Lucas's special effects company, did all the Star Trek movies, but they were busy. They had Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters 2, and The Abyss that they were working on. And so they wouldn't get ILM's A team. They wouldn't get the B team. They wouldn't even get the C team. And they're like, we're not going to deal with the D team. So guess what they did? These dumbasses, no offense, guys, you're all probably not even alive anymore, but you guys fucked up. Oh my God, Graham, I'm so sorry. What they did is they went to the dude that made Little Shop of Horrors that only ever worked with puppets and didn't do green screens or like visual effects. And halfway through the making of the movie, this guy realized, oh, I can't do Star Trek without a green screen. Never done it before, didn't know how to do it, was doing it, like making it up as he went along. The ship that they had for the Enterprise had been spray painted with like cheap gray paint from Home Depot. And I kid you not, they had to repaint the Enterprise halfway through filming. It was a nightmare. When William Shatner turned in the final edit of the movie, the guys that were reviewing it were like, okay, this is like just the preliminary special effects. Like they're still going to work on it. And when they found out that it was the final special effects, which everyone hated, including Shatner, they were like, oh my gosh. So one of the guys had to like edit it quickly. He had to undo William Shatner's edit, and he just had to basically put together this dumpster fire to make the movie. Now, all of that aside, I still love the movie. I love the idea behind it, and there's some really great moments between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And the only person, everyone that had their reservations about Kirk directing it, everyone actually was pleasantly surprised. Sulu, they had their feud. He actually said William Shatner was great to work with. Walter Keon, who plays Chekhov, he had reservations too. He liked it. I guess William Shatner is like a great actors director. The only person that hated it was Scotty, and he did not like it. He said Shatner is an egomaniac, and he was the only person on set that had issues with it. And I think that's mainly because his character was the comic relief of this movie, which I don't blame him. Ahura, her only problem with it was she wanted to dance naked. And I'm like, you go, girl. You still look great for being like almost 60. But she didn't like that they dubbed her singing. She was originally singing and they dubbed her. So she was upset about that. But anyways, I've been babbling on long enough. Guys, come into the show and save me, because I think this is the most I've ever talked.
Well, fuck. I can't believe you said those words on my show.
I'm so sorry. Ron, did I put you to sleep?
Somebody wake up Ron. He's an older gentleman now.
I'm so sorry. I talk a lot.
Ron does the show in the dark just in case he does need to doze off.
I am so sorry. How did I do?
I thought you did great.
There was some great information in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The only problem is you're completely wrong about this being a good movie.
I like it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I watched it today for the first time in years. And, Anna's absolutely right. The budget killed this thing. There's some story problems. I hated the idea of Cybok being Spock's brother. But all that being said, there is some really, DeForest Kelley has never had this much to do in a Star Trek movie. His dramatic scene where he has to give up his pain is fantastic. Shatner gave all the characters these really good scenes, all the regular guys. You could see this was a really cool idea, a really cool story that just kind of went off the rails. The camera angles are some really great and interesting shots with the camera that Shatner did. This thing is a lot better than I remembered it. But I mean, the effects are absolutely awful. And Spock, Nimoy, he'd been eating pretty good between those last two movies. I got to say, when he's wearing the that sweater, and he's got his little flying ski boots on. He doesn't look good. He really looked aged in this one, I thought.
I thought this movie sucked. And it made me realize as one thing, when you go to film school, right? And you're a young guy going into film school, all you think about is like, oh, the depth of field and what can I do with the camera to make things look interesting? And what you realize though is that it's all about being a successful director is all about controlling the performances, getting performances out of your actors. And this film was full of what appeared to be a bunch of people that didn't give a rip or were just bored with the whole process. And I felt like everybody phoned their performances in. I thought the script sucked. I thought the dialogue was atrocious. However, there was some good scenes. The whole thing with Kirk saying, I want my pain, I need my pain. That whole thing, that was good. There was some good moments in there, and there was some good directorial moments in there. But dear Lord, the glibness with which these guys portrayed their characters, it was just absurd. It was like the whole thing was bad comic relief. Even at the beginning, you've got, what in the world is Sulu and Chekhov? Are they on the same camping trip with these guys? Like they all got together to go camping? Because if you remember, they were lost in the woods, right?
They're all on shore leave while the Enterprise is getting fixed.
So they're all like hanging out, going camping together.
Yes.
And so then you got Chekhov doing that whole thing. Oh, we're lost. Oh, there's a snowstorm. It was just the stupidest. And there was just so much of that throughout this whole movie.
So the last movie where they go back in time to get whales was okay, but them camping in Yosemite, that's too far.
How does a navigator?
No, they're all doing it together on vacation. It was just, I'm sorry, what was that, Graham?
I said, how does the navigator get lost?
Because he's Sulu.
He's Chinese, man. He's
Japanese.
I always found that to be the biggest laugh is that, all the joke about Asian people and the way they drive, and he's the navigator of a starship.
I just thought it was Kirk's worst performance overall, or Shatner, because Shatner to me is always somebody that needs a director who knows what he's doing to control him, or he just does whatever he wants. And he had a couple of good moments in here. Like you said, Graham, there were some scenes that were like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's not bad. But again, the special effects were terrible. I mean, terrible.
Yeah.
Like bargain basement TV.
Yeah.
And the Klingons were awful. Even the Klingons were making jokes. You're just like, is anybody taking this seriously?
Yeah, it was way too much humor in it. That's for sure.
But it wasn't just humor. There was humor in Star Trek 4. This was just people not taking the material seriously, is what it felt like to me. And they were just getting through it. And that to me felt like the whole thing. So, and I thought the screenplay was terrible too.
What did you think, Ron?
I was really enjoying that rant.
This movie, God,
it was a great
I was so pissed.
Maybe you should have done the captain's log and we can compare.
Point to Anna's 25-minute long.
It was 10 minutes.
No, it wasn't. It was long.
It was, because when you guys all came on, it was like 13 minutes, and the little trailer thing was like 2.5.
No, it was
a little over 10 minutes.
Right on at 8:00, and it was like 8:13 by the time you went. Hey, whatever.
Hey, the girl's got a
great
costume on, for crying out loud. Give her some slack, man. She dressed up.
I just said it was a great captain's log. Jesus.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, yeah. What was I going to say now?
I asked you what you thought of it.
So freaking rudely interrupted. Yeah, I have to say I'm in agreement with Aaron on this one. I do think I can't judge a whole movie based on a couple of good scenes, and I do think that scene was pretty remarkable with T. Kelly. I agree with you, Graham, and his, him seeing his father laying in the bed, and and Shatner saying, "I need my pain." Those are all good. That was all great dialogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Spock's as well, the way he kind of, was choking up, seeing his father rejecting him as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
That was all great, However, they spent the first half an hour of the movie wasting time, and it didn't feel like it's the first time for everything I said about the previous movie, where the characters were all in the most sync I'd ever seen them, where they really felt like comfortable with each other. This one felt like for the first time I was looking at actors playing roles and they were, you know what I mean? It wasn't the characters. It felt more like, oh, there's James Doohan acting, trying to act like Scotty. There's Chekhov, Walter Koenig trying to act. It just didn't feel like I was lost in the escape. I was too distracted by them being the actors in this one. I don't know why. But when I see Chekhov is, giving Scotty orders, I think.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Red alert. Scotty outranks Chekhov by a mile.
Yeah.
And he's taken over the Enterprise and taken on the captain, the captain's chair. And it was weird to see Chekhov telling him, no, go to red alert.
It was always Scotty who was in the center seat when Kirk and Spock were off the bridge.
Yeah, and then he so acquiesces to Chekhov so easily, like he's a bumbling dummy who doesn't know what he's doing up there.
Right.
Then
they turned him into, like they did with Han Solo, became the comic relief of Star Wars. They did the same thing to Scotty.
Yeah,
Scotty was a guy that was like, what do they say, serious as a heart attack, and then suddenly now he's just a fat.
Yeah, he's an overweight drunk, is the way.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that. The bridge was god awful. First of all, just from a technical point of view, I don't know why they put that bridge together like they did at the end of the last movie, but it's a horror show. And at least with Shatner, he sits down, he kind of looks at the chair, and he's like, "Oh, I miss my old chair." And for real, it's a tiny little freaking desk chair, just sitting there on that massive bridge. I don't even understand. I can't fathom the lack of artistic foresight to see how stupid that was going to look. And and the railings are like these thin little round wooden dowels they look like, and you can see in one of the scenes they took a couple of regular TV screens and pushed them into the plexiglass, and we're running like a video game stuff on them, geometry. It was so poorly done. I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
But then it's also, so that was distracting enough. But then once again, like I was saying a couple episodes ago, the freaking Klingons are the biggest bumbling idiots in the entire galaxy, and they're not supposed to be treated like that.
Yes.
The only time I've seen them treated the way they're supposed to be treated was in this, incarnation of Star Trek when Uhura went down to speak Klingonese and I think it was the Khan one. Those were badass Klingons, they were terrifying, and they were big, and they weren't bumbling Keystone cops and who look like doofuses, in the back. It just was, I can't even stand it. So, that said, then we get to the planet of Shakari, and, the fact that this entity is building up himself like he's God, basically, and stuff, and how it was so the reveal of, what does God need with the starship? Yeah, obviously, it's pretty fucking stupid. Excuse me, pretty stupid that this character would need a starship, but it never really explains what the entity is. It would have been nice if there was more of a,
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, what was it?
And how does he know it's there? I mean, this thing's on the other side of the universe. Nobody's ever been there. Nobody's been past this barrier. And how does Sybok even know its existence?
I think that was more because he was in touch with feelings, and the same way Spock was kind of in touch with V'ger.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think
people are going to find their savior in a South American jungle.
Wait, what was that, Anna?
I said, or people are going to find their savior in a South American jungle.
Yeah.
Well, there was a part in that when he's confronting this entity, and he says, "Show me who you really are." Right? That's what Sybok says to him, and then he takes on the appearance of Sybok. So but I didn't understand that. I was like, clearly they had some intent behind who this creature was. But did you guys get anything from that scene that I'm missing? That this entity revealed? I mean, Cybok saw himself in this creature, and this creature was, here's a face that you'll recognize. And
you think it was almost like it's supposed to be a representation of Cybok's miscalculation or ego. That's kind of the way I took it. He was sort of confronting himself, his own pain, I guess. And that's why it was almost like the entity was almost him in a way. But I mean, it just, they should have given you something more concrete to go on as to what this thing was, made it more, and not such a quick reveal. I don't know. And then the way that, the stones come up out of the ground, it was all just a big clunky stage thing. Yeah, it was just terrible. And let's not forget that the terrible bar scene, which was
another Star Wars ripoff.
Another Star Wars ripoff. And the way Kirk tosses that freaking 130-pound woman clear across the bar like he's the Hulk.
Yeah,
right. Over his head.
Yeah. And he just stands there like this. After she's landed, he's just like this. Like, what was that? I mean, just the worst directing and acting right there. And it's the whole thing had, and then, well, God bless her. I love Nichelle Nichols. Man, was that scene cringeworthy.
Yeah.
They're up there dancing and the camera going up her legs, and you see her butt cheeks in the moonlight a little bit. And you're like, and yes, I agree, Anna, that, good for her. She looked great all, her whole life. But it's kind of like when I saw J-Lo, who's 40 plus at the
J-Lo is 52.
Shaking her ass at the Grammys, and she looks, or Madonna, Madonna up there like a granny, like trying.
Oh yeah, when she was up on that platform thing,
yeah, she's like
chain around her belt.
Yeah, she can barely walk.
Oh yeah,
her knees are so bad, and it's just that kind of thing where it's like you have to know when it's time. I don't take anything away from her, and I think she was beautiful.
Yeah,
but to act that way, in my person, for me, looking at it, it's just cringy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I agree with Aaron on this whole thing. I do think there were some good scenes, but a couple good scenes doth not a great movie make.
So. Right.
I think some of that's the editing too, and the fooling around with the script. I think the concept was really cool, and the exploration of it was gonna be really cool.
Isn't that what we said about every third season episode? God, it was a great concept.
Yes, exactly. This is like the third season episode of the movies.
Right.
It started off really great, and just like the third season, the budget killed it.
Yep.
I mean, outside of the Enterprise, which looked really bad, there was even small things that looked really bad. How about the Klingon cannon that they decide to do stop motion photography on?
Yeah.
It looked like a bad Ray Harryhausen cannon.
I think the worst effect, I think, in the whole movie, though, was when Spock, he's talking to Shatner on the side of the rock. First of all, it's clearly not Shatner who's doing the rock climbing. You can, from angles, you can tell it's some young guy.
Yeah.
So that annoyed me. But Spock's talking to him, and then what's that?
I said you didn't like the feet shots.
Yeah, and the behind the head, so we deliberately don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Spock's talking to him, and he caused him to fall off, and then just the fact that Nimoy has to go.
And his feet come flying up.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah. Well, how about?
And then you see them from the side of the rock, and it's like an animated thing. It's just
And his yats are on the bottom of his shoes. So if they're up like this, he is going down not only with gravity, but being forced down by the rockets. He catches Kirk by his feet, and they're both hanging upside down as he starts to level himself.
I know.
What are these anti-gravity belts?
Evidently, they have. Well, we can't question it because it's the future, but to our sensibilities in this time period, it makes absolutely no sense.
But it just looked clunky and bad.
Yeah, it was
You
terrible.
know, and that's how I mean, it's pretty much our introduction to our characters too, with that really poor effect, which kind of sets the bar for what's coming. You know, like when you're introducing things, you know, like a splash page, it's got to be good. You know, you got to get that reader interested. Same thing here. You get this introduction, you got to pull it off. You know, I mean, you should have
100%. I'm only going to say two more things, and that is, it annoyed me the script with that Shatner and Harv Bennett came up with. You know, because it's Kirk is great. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I've always loved the character and everything, but you know, this idea that Kirk goes up against God, basically, you know, that's how great Captain Kirk is, but it obviously isn't God, and he figures it out pretty quick because he wants the starship and stuff. I thought was a bit, what's the word for it when
Self-serving.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Self-serving and a little bit indulgent.
Yes.
And yeah, so that bugged me quite a bit. Even I remember thinking that when I went to the theater and seeing it.
Okay, three things that I did like in this movie. One, the bridge
I'm not
sound
written on it
effects.
yet.
The bridge sound effects were from the TV show. The theme song was from the first Star Trek movie, only the second time they used it.
Well, Jerry Goldsmith came back for this movie.
He did,
right?
and a lot of people
And the
think
music
it's
was
one
great.
of the best soundtrack.
They used that one shot though. They reused that one shot.
Yeah,
where they come up over the Excelsior or whatever it is to look at the Enterprise.
And it doesn't make any sense, but I love it anyway. Is whatever that room was, I don't know if it was Kirk's quarters or what it was, where they got the ship's wheel
with the wooden doors too.
Mm-hmm.
Were there wooden doors?
Yeah, it was like wooden, like ship doors.
Okay, but I thought that was really cool with the plaque on it.
Yeah, that was a cool room. That was Kirk's quarters, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Kirk's quarters.
Quarters.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool design.
Yeah, it was the captain's quarters because it had the
yeah, and he always liked that stuff, you know, the history of the Enterprise, and I thought that was a nice touch.
I'm going to go back to the script again because I think that even if crappy special effects, if you have a good script and people that are really invested in what they're doing, you could still make it a good movie. And there's it just floors me when I see this bad writing and no one can recognize it. You know, like look how easy we got through the Great Barrier. Right?
Yeah.
Where was the tension there? Where was the ship's going to be ripped apart? We're not going to make it. Oh my God, we've just
they've been there. They've been there before.
Right? They'd gone through it before, and they just totally forgot about that. And then this line cracked me up. Now I will give Kirk credit, or the Kirk character credit in this, because he did react to it the same way I did. But Sybok gets off the shuttlecraft on that planet, and it is a desolate, horrible looking place. And what does he say? It's just as I imagined it. Like he's looking at Eden or something and go, dude, you're in the middle of a desert with dirt and rocks. How is this what you imagined heaven would be like? And Kirk kind of looked at him like, really?
Well, he is Vulcan. You know, Vulcan is hot rocks everywhere.
I guess. But I was just like, that would be my first clue.
Palm Springs to him.
I guess. But there wasn't even like palm trees. There was nothing attractive about the place where they landed for him to even say something like that.
I will say, I think Lawrence Luckenbill did a pretty good job as that character.
I thought he was very interesting.
Yeah, he's the only guy in this movie who gave a performance in my opinion.
He had a lot of charisma, and and I
He
think
did.
he played it up that way because that's what Sean Connery's biggest gift was his charisma on screen. You know, so he did a great job trying to match that. They even sort of did a bit of a shout out with him to Sean Connery when the scene cuts and he's laughing, because there's a scene in Highlander with Sean Connery where he starts laughing to Highlander and it echoes out, and they cut the scene as he's laughing. And they did the same shot with Sybok in this movie. So I feel like that was a little bit of a nod to Sean Connery too.
I can't imagine Connery in this movie. If he was, he'd have owned it. But because as you said, Ron, he has that charisma, that personality, that when he's on a screen, it.
You certainly would have.
You certainly would have.
It would have been interesting as Scottish Vulcan.
He probably
Scottish Vulcan.
He might have put pressure on the other guys to up their game a little bit and take it a little more seriously if he came in and
Well, looking at all the constraints, I don't think they could have afforded him.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no way they could have.
Yeah, I was actually surprised he didn't. Well, I don't know if I was surprised, but I'm
he was making
questioning why he didn't say yes to it because of some of the other roles
he was making The Last Crusade. Excuse me.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So, because that was one of the problems is like all of the movies that came out that year. So when I was looking it up, that's why I learned about ILM, and it's like they were doing Last Crusade, Ghostbusters 2, and The Abyss. So it's like all these.
It wasn't a thing where he was looking down his nose at Star Trek or something.
Well, they couldn't get a hold of him because he was literally filming out in like Jordan.
True.
So.
Right.
Remember, Sean Connery's the guy who put on that Killraven jumpsuit in a John Borman film, that red.
Zardoz.
Yeah, so it's like if he's not too ashamed to do that, why would he be ashamed to do Star Trek?
Well, he turned down Gandalf in Lord of the Rings because he just didn't understand it. But then you get him in that movie. It's like that's the one you got.
Wait, what? Who was in Lord of the Rings?
He was supposed to play Gandalf. Like they were like, you play Gandalf. He's like, no, I don't get it.
That's weird because I can't even imagine anybody other than the gay dude.
Well, I think it would have been funny is if they would have gotten Ian McKellen, since he played Gandalf, if they would have got him in this movie, that he got both.
Well, he would have got another good performance then because he's good.
That might have been very interesting. He would have looked like played a good Vulcan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, but probably maybe a little too. Well, at that time, he wouldn't have been too old.
I hate to nitpick this poor movie, but what in the world was Cybok doing on that planet to begin with?
He said he was there to get the three of them. Don't you remember that line? He's like,
doing
"I'm going to the galaxy with the three of you."
Well, he went to take them hostage. It was a whole plan to get the Enterprise over there.
But he had to have had a spaceship of his own to get to that.
Get there. It's like.
Or he booked passage to get there.
But I don't think it would have made it through the barrier. Any other ship. I think he needed something.
That's exactly why he said that when he was talking to them about getting the starship there.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that because I remember the opening scene.
Okay.
The opening scene. I remember in the theater because I was really skeptical when I found out Shatner was directing, but I thought, okay, we'll give him a shot. And that opening scene, kind of the Lawrence of Arabia scene, right, where the guy's riding in and the bald guy's looking at him in the distance. I thought this is nice. This is a nice visual opening. And it felt.
Yeah, I like that opening too. And that was the same. Sorry to interrupt, but isn't that the guy he first came across? Wasn't he in the old Star Trek?
Yeah, he was in the Spectre of the Gun. He was one of the Earps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was the kind of scary looking Earp.
Skinny looking dude.
Really like
crazy eyes.
And his teeth.
Yeah. Hey, and do you know who played the God character?
Oh yeah, that was
Harry Mudd. No, I don't know who
was that. Who was it?
Were you guys fans of Barney Miller?
Yeah.
You remember Scanlon, the guy from Internal Affairs?
Oh my God, that was Scanlon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Murdoch. Something Murdoch is the actor's name. Yeah.
That's another thing.
Could you just give me a little bit?
And also, the guy that plays the ambassador that's on the planet from the Federation, he plays one of the most notorious villains in The Next Generation, the Cardassian, there are four lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he passed away like 2 years ago.
He also played Jack the Ripper in the Nicholas Meyer film.
Yeah, Time After Time. He was also in Star Trek 6. He was the ambassador, right?
Yeah, that dude has been around.
Yeah.
David
Warner.
Warner. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He was in my favorite Christmas Carol too. The one with George C. Scott.
Well,
I hate that story.
Ron brought up a good point, how much they wasted so much time at the beginning of this movie, because the part of the movie that could have saved this movie was the end. And that was, I mean, there was, they got through the barrier like it was a piece of cake. They found God in about 3 seconds, and then God reveals himself to be bad in about 10 seconds. And then he tries to blow up Kirk, but the Klingons get him, and that's the end. And you're like,
to be fair, Aaron, they shot a whole fight sequence with a rock man, like a rock monster.
no, I know, I heard that, I knew that.
And
whole
then they
story.
scrapped it because it looked awful. That's why the rock
Right.
monster fight is in Galaxy Quest.
Right.
Well,
But-
imagine how bad it must have looked for them to
I
scrap
know.
it.
I want
and
to
keep
see it.
the
Where is
stuff
that
they
footage?
kept.
I would love to see that footage. Yeah.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing with them sitting around the campfire and trying to sing "Row Row Your Boat" was so ham-fisted and silly.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
I mean,
it
it works at
sings
the
that? Who
end.
sings
It
Row,
works
Row
at
Your
the
Boat?
end of the movie. It doesn't work right there. It's it's just
Well-
you know, trying to re-charm us with Spock's, you know, and McCoy seemed overly acerbic with Spock again for nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He didn't see. I mean, what do you get so mad at Spock for Christ's sakes? And he says, "I liked him better before he died." And it's like, come on, man.
Actually, I kind of like
I
that.
don't know,
Ryan.
that
I
didn't
did like
bother
that.
me.
I just didn't think it was.
better before he
I
died.
thought that Forrest Kelly had the best role of all the movies in this one. He really had a lot to do. Even funny things like, I know you haven't, if you want my opinion, and I know you haven't asked, that's pure McCoy right there.
Yeah. He was wearing the bandana like from one of his old westerns.
Yeah.
That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. He had the old man neck guard.
Yeah.
I could keep that gobbler.
Sure.
Yeah, keep the collar tight. Hey, let me take care of a couple super chats here from Russell Hall with $2. Hold on. What did you and Peaches do in public?
Oh, we're back to that.
You need
again.
to pay him way more money to even get the tip of the iceberg of that story, Russell.
Okay. Challenge accepted. How about the general location? Was it a bus, a plane, back of an alley? Was it cardboard? Wait, this is old,
That's
isn't it?
from last year, or that was from last week, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is that? Unless he's sending it again.
Oh,
No,
he could have sent it again because this one is new. I loathe this movie. Caricatures of themselves, insulting to series and fans. Cringe moments. Thank you,
I
JDC.
love it.
And this
You
one's
hate
definitely
CBS
new.
forever. So
Isn't Kirk supposed to be in touch with V'ger?
This was last week.
This one was last week?
Yeah,
I don't remember that one.
I do.
I don't remember that one. And I know this one wasn't because I know JDC's talking
No,
about
no,
this
that
movie.
one's new. But Russell, are you just resending your old super chats?
He might.
He's trying to gouge you out of $5 more here and there.
I think no, it's not just his because Graham's been having this problem for a couple of weeks. It's got to be a StreamYard thing. I don't know what's going on where the
Yeah,
chat
it's
don't
like all
go
these
away.
old.
Oh
I'm-
yeah,
I'm
Russell's saying
I'm
I
gonna-
didn't send it again, and yeah, the chat saying those are from last week.
All of them. Okay.
From
That's
last
weird. I'm just gonna. I can delete them. So.
That's, no, if you delete them, then it'll get removed from your income.
Oh. Okay.
Maybe
So
yeah,
you-
they keep charging their card every week, so keep them, Graham.
Well,
Yeah,
I used to have a
check your
problem where
credit card, guy.
somebody would send me a super chat, and then once I read it, they would delete it, and then they would get their money back. They would get a refund. So if you delete it or they delete it, they get a refund. So then I just stopped reading that person's messages because I'm like, if you're just trying to cheat the system and get your stuff right, then I'm not doing it. I know Russell's not doing that, but you
Yeah.
don't delete them.
Okay. That's just so weird that they show up here on. I create these new streams and then they're there. It's
Yeah.
weird. And they asked me for an opinion on it too the other day. StreamYard did
Oh, they asked it like the survey.
the survey. Yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah, I won't. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. But all that to say, it's obviously the weakest of all the Star Trek films.
Except for Anana's opinion, she wouldn't agree with that. But
Yes, I know. She
those
doesn't
of
like
us who
the
take this
classic,
seriously.
the art film. She doesn't like.
Yeah. Well, again, here's what bugs me about the whole Hollywood scene when you see stuff like this. And I've been watching a lot of like really crappy horror films on Tubi. I don't know if you guys have Tubi. because they show all these like 70s like Sasquatch, it'll mate with anything, you know, and these, so you watch these movies and they're so awful. I mean, they're shot poorly, they're poorly acted, they're poorly directed, the writing is horrible, and you think, who gave these guys money to do this? Even if it was just a small amount of money, who gave them money? You know, it's like there were people out there that could actually make a decent movie with that same amount of money, but yet they couldn't find them, you know? And there's no excuse, especially after the success of Star Trek 4 and the money that it made, to sit there and let this piece of crap even get that far. I mean, Harv Bennett, who supervised basically the rebirth of Star Trek, has got to know that script sucked, and yet they just pushed it through. And I don't.
Well, see, that's the problem. He didn't want to touch it because he didn't want to mess with the concept of God.
Do you think it was really that? Because at the end,
that was the excuse that they all gave when I was doing my research for this. That nobody wanted to touch it, and it's like, guys, but that's the whole thing. You're not talking about God. This is somebody pretending to be God,
exactly.
like, which is a great idea for a villain. But he just, maybe he's really religious. And he didn't want to touch it.
Well, then you would want to go in there and improve it, you know,
exactly.
And say, this is a horrible representation of what they're trying to do. Let me help improve. I just feel like there's.
Well, see, but they messed with it when what Shatner wanted. They had to change it because of the budget constraints and the special effects, and then they'd come in and try to save it at the end. And it's like, why didn't you guys help from the beginning? You guys all told Shatner no because you didn't want to touch the concept. So
well, it's like you're making a recipe and you're supposed to do a teaspoon of salt and you put a tablespoon in. Then you start throwing garlic and other stuff in to fix it, and all of a sudden you've got all your flavors are fucked up. And that's pretty much what happened here. You know, you started off really cool, but then there's also not only budget, but there's time frames. You know, once it's committed, you have, like we found out with the first Star Wars, it had to be in theaters, and the first Star Trek had to be in theaters on a certain date. And so now everything is moving. The train is moving towards that date, and it's got to get into that station. I think that was happening.
The sad part is it didn't even really matter, because it's kind of like Star Wars. It didn't matter how bad it was. They know that the fans were going to come to see it in the theater anyway. So, and they were going to still make money on it, you know. So they
it did win an award as the biggest flop of the year.
Yeah, but not a financial flop.
No, I think it made its money back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I mean. It's like they know.
Lynn said it was 28 million was the budget, and it made 100 and something million.
Okay, well, here's the thing, and this is what really bugs me, and I know it's dumb to even say this about Hollywood, but the lack of creative integrity drives me nuts. It's just, it takes as much effort to make a good movie as it does a bad movie. It's just, you got to get the right people. Like, they brought in, look at how many writers. Whenever you see a screenplay that has like multiple writers on it, that's a pretty good indication the movie's going to suck. But what happened with Star Trek 4, which had a bunch of writers on it, what did they do? They brought in Nicholas Meyer to fix that script because they knew it wasn't working. And they brought him in and he fixed it. And Star Trek 4 became this great thing. Why can't they do that on 5? Why didn't they just
Because they knew they were going to ride the crest of Nimoy's directing and how successful the fourth one was. They just knew that it was going to carry over into this one. They knew it didn't matter at this point. They were going to.
I agree, but what irritates me is none of these guys have any pride in their work that they want to make something good when it's. I mean,
well, they did. They tried, but they didn't want to get on in the beginning. They ran out of money, and the special effects sucked, and they just had to work with what they had.
This is a big budget film within the context of this type of movie at that time. How do you not? That's why you have production managers and people budget these films, and then you got to know how much.
Maybe just shelve it. Don't put it out there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it? I mean,
well,
I know
also the studio didn't want to make it.
They put money in towards a certain allotment of films that they're going to make, you know, and they have to have something to compete with other movies during a certain time period.
No, I get all that, but there's still no excuse for, you could have fixed, this film could have been fixed. Even without the budget, this film could have easily been fixed in the screenplay, in the writing stage. If anybody would have looked at this and just said, this sucks. It needs to be fixed, and they didn't do it, and it drives me nuts because I went in there to watch Star Trek, and I was so freaking pissed off at this movie because it was just so glib, and it's like nobody took it serious. I'm like, hey, I take this
Hold
stuff
on.
seriously.
What does that mean? Can you? I keep hearing people say glib. What the hell does that mean? I've never like heard it before until now, and now everyone's saying it.
It just means they're not taking the it seriously.
Right.
Okay. They're treating it like it's
being slightly sarcastic, sort of.
Yeah, they're just like.
Is this a common term?
Yeah,
it's an old guy term. I don't know how common it is
Why
anymore.
is it? I feel like it's new, like 6'7" lingo.
No, glib.
It's old.
What is
it
6'7"?
means? It means like
it goes back to at least the 1800s.
I've never heard it until like recently. I heard a couple people using it on a podcast, and I'm like,
it means like dishonest or insincere or
like sarcastic or more
like dishonest, insincere, shallow. I think that's actually what it means, shallow.
What is 6'7" though? What is that? I keep
That
hearing
means
that.
absolutely
some
nothing.
kid thing.
It's a
It's
what?
like that and Riz. I don't understand it.
Riz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't know that. I understand that one.
Oh, so they're saying glib's been around for age. Oh, so this is like an older term.
And glib's an actual word.
I've never heard it before.
It's not like a cultural thing. It's an actual word.
Insincere and shallow.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Now I have a new word to call people.
Tom Cruise called Matt Lauer glib. Wow.
And Matt Lauer was. He was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
That's the best definition of it.
Yeah. I mean, most of those talking heads are very glib. You know, they ask stupid questions, that they never probe deep. You guys have done enough interviews on TV and conventions and stuff like that. And people ask the same stupid, especially if they're not in the business, ask the stupidest questions.
Most of the interviewers.
Really, what's the stupidest question you've been asked?
I do get annoyed at how many times I've been asked the same questions. Go ahead. Are we saying it?
I said, what's the stupidest question you've been asked?
That's a tough one.
Pick one.
Yeah.
I could tell you the most annoying question I've been asked is, what's your favorite character to draw? And it's like, the answer is whatever I'm working on at the time.
Whatever gets me the biggest paycheck.
Well, no, because when you start working on a project if it's something you enjoy, if you're working with a good writer or whatever, it's something you enjoy, you start like, I got Justice League International and I hated Booster Gold. But once I started to understand the character and Dan Jurgens was writing it and it's his character, I actually liked the character and I hated him prior to ever working on him. So.
You're being glib, Aaron.
No, I'm actually being sincere. I'm not being shallow. I'm being sincere.
Oh, I know that. But there's one thing nobody could accuse you of is being insincere.
True enough.
As evidenced by tonight's episode.
Yes, the passion of Aaron came out.
Dude, I'm telling you, I get so
I love it, man. I could sit and watch a whole hour's worth of him ranting.
Yeah.
It entertains me so much.
Yeah.
I know the dumbest things get under my skin, but it's true.
It's not dumb.
It's always things you're passionate about. If you didn't care,
passionate.
you'd be like, yeah, this movie sucks, blah, blah, blah.
That's what's likable about you is that your honesty and your frankness and your
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Aaron.
Ron.
Come on, Ron. That's not
Come
true.
on, Ron.
I saw, speaking of Tubi, which I was a while ago, I wanted to bring this up. There was this movie called the Creature from Black Lake. Okay. And it was like a Bigfoot movie in the 70s. It was terrible. but interestingly enough, the DP, the director of photography on this film was Dean Cundy, who did The Thing, Halloween, Escape from New York.
Okay.
And so this movie is terribly acted, poorly directed, but it looked great.
You know what would have been funny is if they called it instead just to set off a firestorm. It was called The Black from Creature Lake.
Well, in the 70s, it could have been a black exploitation film.
Yeah, they could have got away with it.
Yeah, that would have been a good black exploitation film.
But I
they
bring
did
that up.
Blackenstein and Blackula and
Scream, Blackula, Scream.
Yeah.
I bring this point up, though. I bring this up to make the point, though, that here you had Dean Cundey, who's actually pretty talented guy, working on a really crappy film.
What a name.
Doing his job and making it look really, I know.
Thank God, I was supposed to be named Dean. That's actually my middle name.
Really?
But just the fact that your last name is Cundy.
I know, you'd be all over that, man.
Dean Cundy. It sounds like it's like a relative of smegma or something.
Well, maybe it's pronounced Kundi, which I don't think is better, actually.
Yeah. Well, all I know is if you were born in England, they'd be raking
That
over
was
the coals.
Blackula's last name was Kundi.
Oh my God.
Kundi. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Lots of Star Trek reference in Blackula. You got William Marshall as Blackula,
Great. You're great.
Yeah. And the guy who was Dracula who bites him to make him Blackula was the prefect in the Wolf in the Fold.
Yep.
Man, that would have been so much better a story for this.
And Landru.
Yeah, actually, the Landru part. Yeah, you were talking before about how these guys wouldn't be so brainwashed by Cybok or whatever, but Landru did a number on McCoy where he didn't, he was totally willing to throw them under the bus. So, anyway. But I was going to say that, it would have been a much better movie had the big reveal of it not being God. But it turns out the big reveal, it was actually Dracula who was imprisoned there on the planet, and he comes out and it's like he's the Gene Colan Dracula with the
got the mustache.
That would have been amazing.
Well, what if he went to go see God and he released this creature and it was Regik?
Oh my God!
Oh no, that would have been
the Ripper character.
That would have been a great reveal, right there.
That would have been.
That's
cool.
what it needed. It needed something at the end to tell us who this thing was. I mean, just something.
Yeah.
Well, they do bring up that alien species in Star Trek: The Next Generation, but
that's after the fact.
I know. Well, Star Trek Next Generation was going on when this movie was filmed, so they actually used the sets from Next Generation. That's how low on budget they were.
Yeah, but they went in.
What alien race was this supposed to be?
Chat, help me out here. So it's
Q. This is something Q created and then imprisoned.
No, it's not
right?
Q. So it's a Barclay episode. Like Barclay gets struck by a probe and it makes him super smart to where he morphs with the Enterprise computer and he transports them to the middle of the galaxy, which is where this alien live, and so they explore by bringing people to them instead of leaving. But that one, it was supposed to be in prison there because that was the bad one of them.
But they're all powerful like that, where they can shoot laser beams out of their eyes.
They have, I don't know, they're blue and they're glowy, and then they talk funny and they just acquire knowledge. So they're not like us. They're like a different type of life form. So they're like light based instead of carbon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But they're not like all powerful like the Organians or the Metrons.
Well, you notice he needed a starship to get off the planet, you know.
Well,
yeah, and he's, what kind of he's all mad at Kirk. He's like, you like,
how dare you question me?
Kirk pisses off everybody.
Well, he didn't even try to pretend for a minute to fool him, It's like he just, I'll show you who's boss and shoot him. Okay, well, I guess the God thing's out the window.
Yeah.
What was Cybok trying to accomplish by going share your pain with me? I mean, what did he think he was going to do? He just committed suicide.
The thing enough just to let them get off the planet.
I thought that was
didn't that moment when he went in there and started wrestling with himself remind you of the alternative factor?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh, Buffalo Blue Bear has the name of the species in the chat.
Cytherians?
Wait, what?
Cytherians?
Yeah, Cytherian or Cytherians.
So
they are a very glib species, as I recall.
Yeah.
Well, the novels made him, Gorgon, and another one from TOS all related. Oh.
See, I don't like them coming in and explaining stuff after the fact because that's revisionist history. It's like they should have done it there. You know, you should.
It would have been great if he was if it was an Organian that they trapped there. You know, it was a rogue Organian.
Yeah, there's so many entities they could have brought back around to the series that would have actually paid off a little bit.
What they needed to do was get that Metronome to go in there and gay it up a little bit.
What if it was Apollo?
Let me feel your pain.
You look
Come
like
here, Cyborg.
Come here, you big god thing, you.
You look like a boy.
That's another thing that through the whole movie, Cyborg he's very sure of himself. He gets there, but then when he finally gets there and he's talking to him, he's like a kid that's getting a puppy. And he's like, oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's like his whole character melted away.
Yeah, I know. All the sort of charisma turned into a melting.
Yeah, sort of like a whiny little simp at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I will give it that. It's common for people. I mean, I don't like to say humans, at least not Vulcans, I guess, but he was very more human than anything. To be brainwashed by religious things and to pursue something like that and make it your life's mission because you believe in it so wholeheartedly. So I got that part of it. But I agree, it was a little bit much of a mess. But right away, as soon as he realized, he was like, "Why are you doing this?" And and he sacrificed himself because he was actually a man of character in a lot of ways. So
yeah, that was the other thing that bugged me about this. Is it had that sort of Justice or Super Friends vibe, where if you remember the Super Friends cartoon, all of the villains in the Super Friends were just guys had the right idea but the wrong intentions. And they were all
like Scooby Doo.
Yeah, they're all
There's always a guy in a mask.
I want a villain to be a villain, and he was not really a villain. He was just a pawn, a misunderstood pawn, a good guy.
Yeah, Starbuck wasn't the villain. He wasn't supposed to be a villain. He was.
He was supposed to be more sinister originally before they changed it, but because they said he was too much like Khan.
But how could he? But it wouldn't have fit because if he's somebody who believes in the god of Shakari or whatever, he's not going to be. It doesn't fit.
Well, he's a snake oil salesman that's in it for himself. Like he wanted to meet God. He doesn't care, or originally he didn't care about.
It's not. I get it, but he's not a snake oil salesman. He's just somebody who believes so wholeheartedly, and he has this ability to.
Well, that was Cybok. I mean, the original one. He was supposed to be a Vulcan named Tsar, and they said he was way too much like. Yeah.
I would have much preferred him be more villainous, and then when he gets there and realizes everything he thought was wrong, then maybe we have this characterization where he comes full circle and realizes what a fool he is, and then we find out.
I think taking anything by force for your own ends, even though he thought it was for everybody's ends, I think is somewhat villainous. I mean, anything like that is not.
Right, but then he was like too nice when he, you know what I mean? It's just like,
no, I get it. He just fell apart. But he, once he realized, he had been had, and the whole thing was fucked with his head. And he realized that these guys were being killed. He was attacking them. I mean, he really, he gave himself up. So he did the right thing ultimately.
No,
he was killed pretty quick because it didn't last long, that fight inside the.
Oh, it was supposed to be longer.
Exactly. They could have taken the time, like I said in the beginning. They took way too much time. If they had really developed that part, that whole climax out.
What they should have done was film the ending first while they still had the budget, and then everything else after.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, that's right. This isn't a budget problem, I don't think, with them. I mean, obviously it's a budget problem with the special effects and stuff they had to cut out really hurt the film.
Well, getting the guy who doesn't know how to do special effects, that's not stop motion or puppets, to do a Star Trek.
I find it so hard to believe that none of these outfits would have taken on a Star Trek film. That they were just
I know,
all
it's very
busy.
bizarre.
There wasn't a lot of outfits. I mean, that's why George Lucas created Industrial Light and Magic. There
Yeah.
really was not a lot.
But even somebody who knew how to work a green screen. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
really, out of all of Hollywood,
They just hired the wrong special effects team because they didn't want to deal with
they
ILM's.
were the ones who didn't want to turn.
What they
that-
should have done, they should have hit up John Dykstra.
Yeah,
and his company.
Dykstra, yeah, he would have known what he's doing. I mean, Star Wars was 1977. There were people around that knew how to do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he created that
Superman.
Dykstra camera.
Oh, they were like, let's get the Puppet Man.
Yeah.
Heck, even Jim Henson probably would have done better.
I think just being in Hollywood anyway, I think it would have been a must that anyone working in Hollywood knows how to use a green screen. I mean, how would you?
Well, they learned on the job.
Well, how
as
would
you can see.
how would you come to the decision to hire somebody that even if they told you they knew how to do something, it's like, well, you've got to have a reel someplace where you can take a look at what they've done before.
Sure.
Why would you hire someone to do special effects like Anna's talking about that's never done? We've never done them before, but don't worry, we can do it. I'm like, yeah, no.
Or at least
I don't think that they admitted that they had never done it before.
Yeah, but they couldn't prove it.
He could have made a phone call to Industrial Light and Magic or any of these places.
Yeah, who do you recommend? You know?
Yeah, how do I deal with this? Where I'm only got hired because this production is in blah blah blah, and I need help. So just tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have taken that much.
Did you notice the Star Wars sound effects for the blasters?
Yes. I know.
You can hear that in the background.
Well, it looked just like the Millennium Falcon's guns. If you noticed, it was a similar.
Yeah. I got a lot more Star Wars vibes this time watching this than the very first time I watched it in the theater.
Yeah.
It was so obvious to me that this was so influenced by Star Wars on a lot of different levels.
It's so funny, they're thinking in terms of like artillery shells, so there's like a recoil on it, but you're shooting plasma or light.
So at one point there was a Gatling gun being used during the whole takeover of the.
Oh yeah. It was like a machine gun laser, phaser.
Yeah.
Man, they're really pulling out the old artillery. Things 300 years old.
I mean, you can see what Shatner was going for. You can see what he was going for. He just was so woefully incapable of doing it that's
The only thing I liked in the effects were the phaser blast. They had a couple of good phasers.
Yes, that's true. I noticed that too. I was like, that's you sit there and look at the phaser blast and go, that's really cool. How come that ship looks like it's a model from Aurora model kit or something?
Yeah. 100%. The phasers look cool.
But again, maybe it's like Anna said, maybe they were so just not controlling their budget and they did stuff that looked really cool and then they had no money. And so then this doesn't look cool. And it was shot at different times. So yeah, I don't know, man.
All right, let's give this bad boy, and I mean that literally, some grades.
Well, I guess Anna's taking a break here, so we'll leave her for last because she's going to shock us by giving it a 10 or something. But
oh yeah,
I don't even know what to give this because there was some scenes like Graham, like you said, that I thought were better than I remembered them when I saw this again. But the overall movie I thought was as bad or maybe worse than my initial reaction was to it, and so. I'm going to go. I can't even give him an A for effort because I don't think there was any effort put into this film. But I'm going to say because there was enough moments that were interesting that you kept thinking to yourself, man, if someone that really cared and knew what they were doing was involved in this could have possibly been good. I'll give it a 3. This is such a bad film on so many levels that it's.
I want to hear Graham's rating now because you just gave it a 3.
this thing works for me because of the cast. The original guys, there's still that familiarity. Yes, all the stuff we talked about. So as a Star Trek film, I give it a 5.
That's average. So you think this is an average film?
It's an average Star Trek film.
Well, no, wait a minute. If you're don't take into consideration the episodes. Look at me trying to talk Graham out of his grade, but there's 6 Star Trek films.
Yeah.
Like 3 is kind of like what I would consider average or just above average kind of. This is below average.
We're giving it a 1 to a 10, and I've got a 10, an 8.5.
Any 5 is average.
A 9 and another 10. This is a 5 compared to all those other grades.
But you still think this is would you consider this an average Star Trek episode or average Star Trek movie?
It's the lowest grade of any of the Star Trek films I'm giving it, because we're giving it 1 to 10. Well, the difference between a 10 and a 5 is pretty far.
Yeah.
So
but I look at it 5 as being like an objective average. And it's like
I can watch this. I mean, I could watch this. But I could not watch the midget 3rd season episode. Where, I couldn't watch that again. So
that is pretty cringeworthy. But I don't know.
Now the worst episode. I used to be in The Children Shall Lead, but after we've watched them, it's definitely the one with the midget.
I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again. In fact, I almost didn't watch it but I thought, no, I got to watch it because I haven't seen it since it came out. And I've been bad-mouthing this movie since the minute I walked out of the theater when I first saw it, and I have not stopped for 30 years. And I'm not going to start now. This film sucks, and I think giving it a 3 is generous.
I admire his conviction.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk me out of this one.
There's no arguing with Aaron's passion.
That's right.
Star Trek 5.
As Louis L'Amour once said, you can't argue with a man in the right. All right, Ronald.
See that, Aaron? He admits you're right.
Yeah.
So that means he has to lower his score.
He thinks he's right. That's you can't argue.
Oh, come on. He's right. He's right.
I know he's right that the movie stinks, but it's better than.
Yeah, I couldn't give it a 5. That's not right. It's not average. It's below average, and that's right. That is below average. Sorry, Graham, but you're out of luck.
You're not sorry.
You're right.
You're happy about it, Ron.
My sorry was glib.
Yes, you're being very glib with your apology, Ron.
Sincerely.
I am sincerely glib in my response.
Sincerely glib in my non-apology.
Look at the fiction method puts my 3s in there, and one of them is a Turnabout Intruder. I thought Turnabout Intruder was more entertaining for the wrong reasons than this was. So anyway,
wow.
Oh God. Oh geez, don't say that, Aaron, please. Oh.
There was some funny moments in Turnabout Intruder.
Oh no, don't please. You know what?
See, you have just undercut your score for this movie, Aaron.
No, I didn't. I gave Turnabout
Aaron, I had so much respect for your conviction when you pointed that out. Please stop.
Wait a minute, fiction method. What did he give Turnabout Intruder? I bet we gave it the same score.
Who, me?
Yeah. I gave it a 3. Because it sucks.
But the fact that you're saying you enjoy it more than
I think I gave Turnabout Intruder lower than a 3.
I don't remember what I gave it, but I would have given it a 1 if anything.
I'm just you know what really gets me about this movie, here I go again, is that I just don't think that anybody was even trying. And I felt insulted by that. And that's what bugs me so much about this movie. But
what's that, Graham?
I was saying I didn't get that. What Aaron was saying.
Really?
I gave I thought they all did a pretty I thought if anybody didn't really put 100% in, I thought it was Nimoy.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I thought
Shatner was great.
Wait a minute, Graham. What if that whole scene when they threw him in the brig? Kirk's performance was a joke.
Is that where he opens up the toilet and sits down?
Yeah, and he's like, I should have knocked on your gosh darn ass, and I blah blah, and he's just like, he was just being.
Well, I do think
dialogue.
I know, but okay, there was bad dialogue, and it was, yeah, okay. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, are you ready? Are you sure? Because I'm listening.
All right, go ahead. No,
Every word you're saying.
I'm done.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to bring up what you brought up was the cast, and their acting. I found them completely unbelievable. Like I said, I found them to be the actors coming in and pretending they were the characters. It felt like even Kelly, Nimoy, and Shatner, it felt like what the actors would actually do sitting in their living room, like the way they would talk to each other. And it felt like the characters to me. It just didn't feel authentic enough. And I don't blame them as much as I blame the silly. The script was so silly in so many areas that I can't really blame them, because you go with what you work with. And then I don't know. And it was almost like they had so much fun with such great directing on 4 that they tried to pull that off in this one with the camping stuff and Sulu and Chekhov, and like Sulu and Chekhov in that moment where they're going down, it was like the same kind of thing they were trying to pull off in Star Trek 4, where you had these characters had their own scene here, and then we go to the next scene with these two characters like Kelly and Doohan, and then but it just didn't feel the same at all. It just felt so. It felt so pointless to me.
Remember how we used to feel about the 3rd season, how the Enterprise seemed empty and small? These movies post Wrath of Khan have had that feeling, because, all right, so they lost the Enterprise. When they got the Enterprise, they were on a skeleton crew, so it never feels full. They lose the Enterprise. Now they're on the Romulan or Klingon ship. They get the Enterprise back in 4. And again, we got a skeleton crew. There's nobody on there. I mean, there's nobody to do anything but the principals.
That's a good point too. Yeah, it's like you just don't feel like, it doesn't feel like the Enterprise.
Yeah, this giant ship.
Whole crew. It's a giant ship that needs a whole crew, and what puts that whole crew in peril. That's what ups the stakes and gives it much more gravity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That there's all these lives at stake.
Instead, it's always Shatner saving the lives of those 5 characters.
And why are there 430 people on the ship if 6 of them can fly it?
Yeah. Who the hell is down in engineering when Scotty's up on the bridge? I mean, it just everything. I guess you can just do everything from the computers now.
Yeah.
But I agree with that 100%. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. Nothing. I would almost even go lower, like a 2.5. I just think there's just slog in it.
I was trying
self-serving slog. So I'm actually gonna go with 2.5.
Anna?
I could have gone lower.
What did you guys give?
Done me.
Aaron,
I'm surprised you're not going lower, Aaron.
Aaron
Go
gave
ahead,
it a 3.
Anna.
Aaron gave it a 3. Ron, what'd you give it?
2.5.
2.5. I gave it a
Anna's
5.
going to give it a 10. You watch.
Yeah, here it comes.
This is her City on the Edge of Forever.
Here it is.
Oh my God, City on the Edge of Forever is nowhere near as good as this.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You have to remember, though, I'm extremely biased, and I judge everything based on my emotional connection to it. Before my daughter was born, my father was my favorite human in the entire planet. I loved watching this movie with him. He laughs so hard at the beginning. Also, since I'm from California, it is a rite of passage to go to Yosemite. So by the time I had seen this movie, I had already been there. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Captain Kirk has been there too.
Oh my gosh.
But
how far away is that?
From where I grew up, like 2.5 hours. From where I live now, like 7 hours. But
have you ever been out to Vasquez Rocks where they shot the Gorn episode and stuff?
I've driven past it. I've never stopped there.
You should take a picture there.
I've
I
been
know.
there. Like,
I was
You
going
know
to,
what?
but
We should reenact that scene, and I'll play Kirk, all old and trying to move, or I could play the Gorn. That's what I would be like.
yeah. I can do the Gordon voice.
I will be merciful.
I
That's
will
the biggest
use
joke.
this land quick.
Yeah, like he could be quick.
Yeah, he was moving like a 90-year-old.
Yeah.
Lizards
They
are
made him
fast.
super fast in the next gen or whatever that was, Voyager.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, Anna.
okay. Well, listen, there's two lines in this movie that I love, which is what does God need with a starship? And then the other one, which really hits harder now, but it's like where he says, I always knew I was going to die alone. And now that like everyone is dead except for him, Sulu, and Chekhov. So
Oh, I didn't
I
even think of that.
I think that that's like predicting it, like him saying that, and the way that like William Shatner says it in the very beginning, he's like, I knew I wasn't gonna die because you guys were there, and he's like, I always knew I'd die alone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he was predicting the future. Oh no, ah,
10. It's a 10.
He had
it's
to live
amazing.
long enough.
I
to
love
meet
this
me.
movie. I could go on and on, but I know you guys all hate it, and you guys are gonna hate that I'm gonna grade it this, but I give it an 8.
Okay.
That's not.
You
know
said
what?
an 8 on purpose just because I thought you were going to give it a 10.
No. The only one I would give a 10 is 4. But this one, I really, really like it. I didn't know that everybody didn't like it, but my dad likes it. I like it. There's definitely problems with it. I will admit that, but
Yeah.
I have fun watching it. Even today, I had fun watching it today. My husband had never seen it, so I had it on our TV, and he was just like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "Spock has a brother," and I'm just like, "Just
Yeah, you would. That's the other thing is there's no way Nimoy would have spent so much time with those guys, his friends, and that would have never come up. It just wouldn't have. Cyborg been mentioned somewhere. And
Yeah. That whole plot device was like a
Well-
shoehorn, it just didn't fit.
Yes,
agree.
but also he does. Vulcans don't talk about their personal lives. He didn't tell freaking Kirk that his dad was the ambassador that was coming up to meet them until they were right in front of him.
Spock tried to rape Nurse Chapel for crying out loud, or not Nurse Chapel. When it was in Pon Far, didn't know that he was mad at her. That's right.
Yeah, he was
No,
mad
she
at her.
was crying, and he was like, "Stay away from me," because he didn't want to risk raping her.
But he was
Right.
okay with Kirk coming in there.
Well, he wasn't sexually attracted to Kirk.
Well,
His hormones weren't ready.
that glass you have where it shows Kirk and Spock on it, they sure look chummy on that one.
Well, that was right after he
Spock's
died.
looking right at Kirk with a smile on his face like this.
Yeah, because he just brought him back to life.
Yeah, look at that.
See on this other side.
Well, I
Getting
can't
brought back
see
to
that.
life.
What is that?
It's a
Well,
cut
that's
from
the old
Taco
lady
Bell.
with her hand on their foreheads.
Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now turn it around and show. Look at those two looking at each other. Look at Spock.
Yeah, because he just got brought back to life.
That's a weird shaped glass.
It's like they have him at the
He
bar.
didn't just
and
come back to life. Look at what he's
it's
wearing.
literally the way it's in the bar in this movie. Did you guys not even watch Star Trek 3? Fake Geek Girls. My gosh.
But Spock never smiled like that at the end of the movie.
He's smirking. Maybe some of it chipped off, Ron.
No, he's smiling like he's really.
He's going like this.
He's treating Kirk like he's a sex robot. Let's admit it.
Come here, you big sex robot.
They're all over the Star Trek.
Next week, Star Trek 6, as just a little bit of a preview.
Christopher Plummer's in it.
This movie is difficult because it's good, but it's like, how good is it compared to 2 and 4?
He might slip the dogs of war.
Yeah,
I like his performance. I'll give it that. But it's another Klingon. Jeez.
Well, Kirk hates Klingons. Let them all.
Yeah.
Klingon bastards killed his son, Ron.
Yeah, I wouldn't like a Klingon either. They knifed my son to death.
Yeah. I think tomorrow is going to be, or next week is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I do too. I got to figure out where I'm going to put this one because I do like this episode, but where is it fit?
Yeah. And it has some serious problems.
It's so political. I mean, it's just like
David Bowie's wife is in it.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
She gets it on with Kirk, sort of.
Elon, David
Elon.
Bowie's wife.
Oh, right.
Come on.
I do like the one scene where I'll say it next week too, but when he leans over and he's like, "What is it with you?"
Yeah.
He's always he's kissing everything.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good line. Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah.
So hilarious. That was an interest. Well, we'll talk.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
We'll get to that
This
next
one's
week.
definitely a step way up above this.
Yeah. All right, guys. We covered this turkey, or this Thanksgiving dinner, as according to Anna.
For Anna, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Thanksgiving, so it's more like a
Oh
4th
my
of July.
gosh.
4th of July barbecue.
Scissors in space. And on that note, folks, we will see you next week. Have a good one.
What time is it?
5:30, sir.